In the propaganda machine of the Third Reich, Magda Goebbels was held up as the ideal German mother. She produced 6 blonde-haired children and posed at the center of this highly engineered family portrait, projecting a flawless image of Aryan domesticity. On the night of May 1, 1945, deep inside the concrete labyrinth of Hitler's bunker, she ended that domestic fantasy. She murdered all 6 of those children. People often assume that her husband, propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels, orchestrated this atrocity. The historical default is to view him as the zealous fanatic who demanded his obedient wife follow him into the abyss. The surviving record proves otherwise. Eyewitness testimony from the bunker, including accounts from the SS dentist who was there, shows Joseph was reluctant. It was Magda who approached the medical staff to organize the killings, and she wrote in her own final letters that she was staying underground against her husband's wishes. We cannot write off these murders as the tragic surrender of a frightened wife. To understand the horror of May 1st, we must look past the myth of the perfect mother and examine exactly how she arrived at her terrifying, independent choice. Looking at her pristine image, you might assume Magda was a lifelong zealot, programmed from birth to serve the regime. In reality, her youth looked nothing like Nazi ideology. She was raised in cosmopolitan circles, attended a Catholic convent school, spoke fluent French, and for a decade she carried the last name of her wealthy Jewish adoptive father, Richard Friedlander. As a teenager in Berlin, she even fell in love with a brilliant young Jewish student who would eventually become a major Zionist leader. She wore a Star of David, started learning Hebrew, and briefly considered following him to help build a Jewish homeland in the Middle East. Her radicalization started much later, practically out of boredom. Following a divorce from a wealthy industrialist in 1929, she found herself adrift in Berlin. She started attending political rallies, eventually heard Adolf Hitler speak, and developed an immediate, intense fixation on his inner circle. Her fanaticism was an ideology she actively opted into. She built her worldview piece by piece, discarding her past to secure a place at the very top of the new German state. By late April 1945, that state was collapsing. Soviet artillery was pounding Berlin into rubble, the Red Army was closing in, and the Goebbels family retreated underground to live out their final days in the cramped corridors of the bunker. High-ranking officials realized what was coming and tried to intervene. Armaments Minister Albert Speer practically begged Magda to let him personally smuggle her children out of the city to safety. She refused. The elite test pilot Hanna Reich stayed in the bunker for 2 days, pleading to fly the children out in her small aircraft. Magda turned her down as well, and even made a chilling request. She asked Reich to physically stop her if she showed any signs of wavering. She laid out her reasoning in a farewell letter smuggled out to Harold, her adult son from a previous marriage who was sitting in an Allied prisoner of war camp. She wrote that her children were too good for the life that would follow the war, and that ending their lives alongside the Führer was an act of merciful salvation. The murders in the bunker were a premeditated ideological execution. She carried them out with viable alternatives sitting right on the table, and multiple people pleading with her to take them. Around 8:40 p.m. on May 1st, she went into the children's room. She dressed the girls in long white nightgowns, tied ribbons in their hair, and told them a doctor was coming to give them a vaccination to protect them from the damp bunker air. SS dentist Helmut Kunz administered morphine to each of the 6 children. Once they were unconscious, Magda, accompanied by Hitler's personal physician, moved from bed to bed, placing cyanide capsules between their teeth and crushing them. For decades, the public narrative suggested the children drifted away in an endless, painless sleep, completely unaware of what their mother was doing. But when Soviet forensic teams entered the bunker, their autopsies, documented in file number 1477, revealed a specific, horrifying detail. 12-year-old Helga, the oldest child, had heavy bruising on her face. The morphine had not fully sedated her. She woke up. She understood what was happening, and she fought back. Magda's grand language about grace and purity crumbles against the physical reality of overpowering her own conscious daughter to suffocate her. Magda and Joseph walked up into the Chancellery Garden later that night and ended their own lives, escaping any human court. The men who helped them also evaded meaningful consequences. Helmut Kunz, the dentist who injected 6 children with morphine for execution, served a short sentence in Soviet detention. Upon returning to West Germany, a court declined to convict him. He lived out his life as a respected local dentist, dying a free man. Meanwhile, Magda's eldest son, Harald Quandt, returned from his POW camp in North Africa. He inherited a massive industrial fortune from his father, eventually acquiring controlling stakes in major companies, including BMW. The regime Magda died for was reduced to ashes, and her 6 younger children were wiped from the earth, but her bloodline and the family billions survived completely intact. Extreme ideological devotion is a mechanism available to absolutely anyone, regardless of their background or education. And as Magda Goebbels proved, blind fanaticism never protects the innocent. It only demands they die alongside the